such a big part of that. And we think of these rotations so far. I'm so confused.
That craftiness.
3 games in a row, you just get pummeled out of the jump ball for like 7 straight minutes on defense. I guess what I see that Brad likes about the 2 bigs is they do kind of stick with it offensively. Like they're trading buckets back and forth and staying there. They didn't do that tonight, so he gets away from it. But you see them get into better lineups throughout the flow of the game, especially into these second quarters where Pritchard teams up with Tatum and they can kind of trade off the ball time there. You surround them with some shooters like Semi and Grant sometimes. Like they have good combinations on this team, and I'm trying to think of reasons why they would do double big period. I mean, they keep talking about it has defensive potential. We're seeing 130 points upwards of per 100 possessions with this group. They're the worst starting lineup in the league. So I think they're going to throw this out now.
Oh, he scrapped it.
All that stuff. So,
yeah. Look,
but
this finally happened. It's the first time it happened. He kept coming back to it, not only every game, but every half.
Yeah.
And this is the first time, I believe, that he has not come out with the starting lineup in the second half.
So then what is it? So what's the starting lineup?
Well, he put – look, I mean, here's where you're stuck. You had people who've said Semi, who've said Grant. I personally favored –
We know how you feel about both those guys.
No, but I favor the Pritchard Smart lineup, Pritchard Smart Jaylen 3-guard lineup with Tatum at the 4. That's what I think.
And you know what? You should put Rob at
scoring off your bench. You have no scoring off your bench. Congrats.
Yeah, plus Teague is out. You don't know
That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
Well, it is, and that's a problem. But the thing is, then the other thing is, so then you're stuck with, you got to make the decision between Semi and Grant. Because what you're saying is, Theis is fine and I like him, but I'd rather kick. Here's the problem, too. If you kick Theis to the second unit, you're taking away Rob's minutes. They really have a problem here because that's what happened in the third quarter. They started Semi. They're better off with Semi or Grant in there instead of the double big, I think for sure. Though those guys are flawed, there's better space on the floor. So it's a better lineup, no question about it. But then when you kick Daniel to the second lineup, you're going to create a double big situation there where you're going to have problems and no spacing.
This all goes back to Hayward again.
and what do you do there, you know? And that's where you're that's where you're stuck in that situation. It's not ideal.
I mean, with Shemi, it's not ideal because you're not quite sure what you're going to get night after night. You know, you're going to have to live with some of those nights where he's just not feeling it and hoping that defensively he doesn't rack up 3 fouls. But then you turn around and say the same thing about Grant. So it's really hard, I think, for Stevens to sort of trust one of those guys. But I'm with you, John. I think he has to at this point. I think the 2 big lineup this should be it for that. You know, I mean, we've been saying that for the last couple of games now. But after the first half and what we saw, how the Celtics turned things around and how he, you know, to your point, started the second half for the first time differently. I mean, I think that speaks volumes, and so does the second unit and the way they showed out in this game. Their best performance of the season for sure.
Yeah,
Jimmy's got a point there. You need to spread out good lineups throughout the course of the game, and that's the answer to why they've started double big. They know that some of these second unit minutes with Tatum, Brown leading them sometimes are doing well. So you space out good lineups throughout the flow of the game. I think ultimately, though, if you're talking about your best 5, who's the best combination that complement Tatum? It's Tatum, Brown, Pritchard, Smart, and Rob. And I still want Rob playing off of Tatum in the most important moments here. Now, we'll get to Thompson in a little bit and where he's at, but it's tough. It really is. But luckily, they have options. They have options here. They have good options. Javonte Green's coming back after this road trip ends. You can do more 3 wings. They have a lot more combinations.
I know you're not excited, but I want to see
good options, Bobby.
Well, Bobby, that lineup you just ripped off there. That's a great lineup if you want to close the game. I mean, I'm fine with that. Play your best guys, and maybe we're looking too into the starting lineups because we really should be focusing about the best 5 guys that play together down the stretch. I mean, it didn't matter tonight because they blew the doors off them. But you don't want to go down big every game because you're starting the wrong guy. Right.
But it's not even the where you're playing the guys. You're looking at the guys who played the most minutes, and tonight it was Jaylen, Jayson, Semi, Pritchard, and then
was 30 tonight. Yeah.
And then it was actually Grant. And it's hard to argue that those weren't your 5 best players. Right?
Well,
yeah.
Those are your 5 best players tonight were Tatum, Brown,
Pritchard,
Grant Williams, Semi OJELEYE, and they played the most minutes. So you're right. At the end of the day, they did lean on the players that were playing best for them. Tristan was 20. Theis was in the teens, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Theis was 13.
Theis was 14. Tristan was 20.
Yeah, Rob was good tonight too.
I mean, my God,
That center thing.
Rob was phenomenal, but he sat the whole third quarter. That was the problem. When you go away from double big, Williams didn't play the whole third quarter. He comes in the fourth quarter. He got 12 rebounds in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was rested.
This big man conversation changes every night, and that's why we
He
say
finished
it's
with 15 boards. He had 12 in the fourth quarter. He was a monster. He came in immediately, was like boom, boom, boom. He was everywhere, you know? Tyson Thompson combined for 2 freaking points in this game.
I think right now
2 points and 10 rebounds in 34 minutes. Williams goes for 11 and 15.
Right.
Yeah, we've talked about Theis' spot on the roster. It's in flex for sure.
Yeah, it is. I was going to say. I mean, we're talking about the centers right now. It's because of the inconsistencies we're getting at that position, right? Through the Celtics are getting, because you look at Grant. I mean, he goes from basically a DNP guy to all of a sudden he played the entire third quarter. Obviously, Jayson Tatum had a huge part in that that huge run by the Celtics there. But I mean, he's in there the whole time. Grant is so. I mean, obviously he's being trusted to contribute in that situation. So you don't really know what to expect with some of these guys. I mean, Theis has obviously had a very slow start to the season. Grant's had an even slower start. We've liked what we've seen from Rob, but he's getting inconsistent minutes. And Thompson's like sort of feeling his way around on this new team. Started injured to start the year and working his way back. So, I mean, I know you guys are big Rob guys. I am too, but it's almost like you don't know what to expect on any given night from the 5 spot, even from the 4 spot, I guess, to an extent.
Yeah.
And if there's no double big, there's no time for 4 centers. So you do have a tricky situation there. But we're overthinking this to some degree. It's all about where you're getting Tatum and where you're maximizing his minutes. On a night like tonight where you get that 21 from him in the second with that lineup with Pritchard alongside him, like that's all you need to seal a game.
Right.
Like that big stretch.
And again, you got to talk about it. I mean, you had the second quarter run, 38-14. What happened in that quarter? Jayson Tatum, of course, happened. Okay, everything else falls off of that. But
Nothing
Tatum scores 40, scores 26 in the first half, 21 in that second quarter. That was basically 13 free throws. Most of those came early as well. So that was ridiculous. He was just heading towards the basket and getting the calls. But off of that, Grant Williams played the entire second quarter, 12 minutes, finished a plus 24 in that second quarter. You saw a lot more Pritchard in there. You didn't see the double bigs come back out. It was, again, a lot of the players that were playing better and who played the most minutes were all in that action in that second quarter, and that's where they put the game away. That was Grant, that was Semi, that was Pritchard, that was Jayson, that was Jaylen. That's, that was that.
And those are going to be the guys that you're going to find yourselves talking about.
That's where Rob got his first minutes. Yeah.
Semi's one of those guys now.
I mean, listen.
He's
the way
stacking
Semi's
up
shooting
those
the ball.
threes.
Yeah, Joe Sway,
He's been awesome.
you can take this one on Shemi. I know you're big on him.
No, I mean, when he's hitting those threes, it's just he just adds a different dynamic to the floor. But I think obviously what he does defensively is what's going to get him in the starting lineup, maybe potentially. We never know. But yeah, I mean, this offense from Shemi, he's been off a couple of games, but for the most part, it's there. I mean, it doesn't look pretty at times. He's due for a turnover here and there, but for the most part, I think you have to be not confident, but maybe at least optimistic with his outlook for the rest of the season. I mean, he's been here for a while, right? This isn't his first or second year.
This is too many minutes for Semi. I think you got to hope you
29.
I think Semi expired at about the 22-minute mark. Okay, like that was about it. The last 7 minutes were more of the Semi you're used to seeing. You got your best out of him. You can't be playing him 29 minutes a game.
No, you can't, and I don't think typically they would. But I mean, if you turn into a classic 3-and-D guy and give you low 20 minutes where he's playing solid defense, and you have to honor him at the 3-point line. And recently, you definitely have to. I mean, we've seen him go through stretches where he can't hit the broadside of a barn, but the last few games, I mean, that shot's looking nice. I mean, the release is there. He's doing exactly what he needs to do to stay on the court. So I'm fine with him getting 20+ minutes right now. I mean, especially when you've got a guy like, I don't know what Marcus Smart's, if it's a long-term thing, hopefully not. Doesn't sound like it, but I mean, if you need guys to step up in Smart's absence, and obviously with Kemba out, that's exactly the type of production you're looking for.
Yeah, but you don't have the Javonte option right now, so it's tough.